Hello, this is the Captain Paxo, and this is some more Dark Souls 3 PvP. This time we'll be looking at my Pharis build, so kind of like archer using longsword as a sidearm. I got 15 vigor at the moment, 13 endurance, and 20 dexterity. Vigor I'll probably take to 20 or 25. Endurance will probably stay at 15, and then I'll pump up dexterity using bows, obviously, and the Lothric Knight sword as a sidearm because it still scales really well in dexterity, and I wanted a weapon that could guard break as my backup, because they're a precious commodity, and those hitboxes are really precise. But yeah, arrows are a precious commodity because you can only hold 198 total, 99 on your character and 99 in your bottomless box of any type. Wood arrows only cost 5 souls each, but like feathered arrows and poison arrows and fire arrows, they all cost 100 each. So that would be like what, 99,000? No, 9,900 just for a stack of 99. And at this stage in the game, I'm like level 26, level 27, so I do not have those kinds of souls. And I'd just like to point out that this guy's using a kind of a pure pyromancy build, so nice going there, bro. That's pretty damn hard to pull off. Kind of spamming the combustion, which is a shame, but anyway, that's the reason why I like the longsword, really, is because that guard break, it's got a lot more range than the kick, and it's also got, I think it's a little bit faster. But as I was saying, arrows are a really precious commodity, which makes losses with this build really painful because you don't get any souls and you've just wasted a bunch of arrows at that point, which is quite frustrating. At the moment I'm using, or in this clip I'm using the longbow. I switched to the composite bow later on because, you know, the composite bow can actually do rolling attacks. The longbow can't, and it makes engagements a little bit tougher. This kind of build, it requires a lot of patience. You really need to exercise your patience, because if your opponent's moving at all side to side, right, at all, then you're gonna miss your opponent pretty much every single time unless they run back into the arrow's flight path. But if they're moving towards or away from you, you have a direct shot. So what I end up doing is I kind of just do this. I hold my I draw my bow, and then I back up slowly, and I wait for my opponent to lower their guard to attack me, and then I release the arrow. Loose the arrow, that's the word I'm trying to say. And it is a really pensive and kind of passive playstyle. And with the composite bow, it allows for, well, I have to roll away. After I loose the arrow, I have to roll away every single time. And my opponent's swinging like 1 or 2 times, sometimes even 3. So it would be nice with the longbow if I could punish that, which is why the composite bow is so much more appealing. And also, puncturing shot on the longbow has absolutely no tracking whatsoever. You start that up, you'll be locked in firing in that direction until it gives you control over your character again. It's not very pleasant because they have so much time to move out of the way to avoid it. I don't even know how much damage it can go through the shield, but this guy's getting so aggressive on me because I can only imagine how frustrating it is to fight this kind of player. I haven't found any other players who are... that's a complete lie. I've found like 1 or 2 other players who pull out a bow, and right there I'm trying to use the puncturing shot to no avail. But I can only imagine it's just super frustrating to fight this really passive defensive player who just keeps rolling away and keeps punishing your attacks. Just not pleasant at all, because Well, there were people who did that in Dark Souls 1. Actually, there are lots of different people who did that in Dark Souls 1. There were the people who used the bows, there were the people who would do one swing with like a katana or a spear, and then dark wood grain ring out of there. And then there were just people who hid behind the shield and turtle poked all day. But that's besides the point. This build's frustrating against, and it requires a lot of patience. It's not so hard to pull off when it's in a 1v1 situation, or in this case a 2v1 situation. Unfortunately, I feel like I might have been able to pull that out if it was a 1v1, but this little clip here will show otherwise, because I get invaded whilst waiting to invade. So I would, if you're going to do this build, I would definitely recommend using either the short bow or the composite bow. I haven't tried the Pharis bow because I don't actually have it. I would not recommend the long bow, because I think I mentioned this before. If you try and attack after a roll or a backstep or whilst you're running, you draw the bow. You do like a full draw, whereas with the composite bow and the short bow, you do a quick shot, like the like as if you did the weapon art with those weapons, where you can just rapid fire, and it really makes punishing R1 mashers. And basically how that works is, well, you roll away as they begin their R1 mash sequence, and you throw out the roll attack, and generally, that was a really nice parry actually, generally they're still in the state of throwing out those R1s, and they take the arrow pretty nastily. But did I mention this is a build that really, watching this at the moment, it looks so boring. Oh, right here I've swapped to the composite bow, as you can see with my fancy roll attacks. This build, when you're fighting just one other person, it's really quite boring, and if you can exercise patience and you know what you're doing, it's pretty much an easy win. You just gotta win through a war of attrition. But once it gets into a 2v1 situation, I don't think I actually showed a 2v1 so far, because I didn't get anything of any interest in terms of 2v1s. Probably because I died within 3 seconds. But once you get into a 2v1 situation, it becomes 3 times more interesting, because you gotta watch 2 opponents have your bow drawn, ready to loose it, and you've got to be locked onto the person that you want to loose the arrow onto. Actually, probably the reason why I didn't put any many 2v1s in this is because, well, they took forever. These fights take a really long time. That's what I mean when I say you have to exercise patience. This fight right here is about 3 minutes long. Really long fight. Actually, it's probably more than 3 minutes. I have no idea how long this is. I apologize. But they take such a long time, and then you got to go replenish all your arrows after a while, which takes most of your victory souls away. So you don't really have a lot of leeway. Like, I'd love to get some of those kukri, those bleeding throwing knives. I'd like to get those, and I'd also like to use some fire bombs, but I just don't have the souls to be able to do it, because I want to be doing PvP, but at the same time I don't have the souls to be able to continue doing PvP at the rate which I'm doing. This guy pulls out the Irithil longsword or stray sword, so you can tell he's getting kind of pissed off with me. So I apologize to this guy. I can only imagine. That's all I can do, because I haven't fought against this. Therefore, I can only imagine how frustrating it is to go again. It's such a passive defensive build, and oh god, it's so frustrating to fight against those players, because I don't even have my shield up. I'm not even turtling, which means you can't guard break me. It really is just a reactive play, you know? I react to what you do. It's like those people in Dark Souls 1 which would just wait for you to attack and then roll backstab you. Or they wait for you to swing, block it or poise it, and then parry the second hit. You know, or those people who would do one swing with a fast swinging weapon like a katana or a spear, and then ninja flip out of there. Or even bow users in Dark Souls 1. So, I don't know. I kind of like to an extent I kind of like that they reduced the amount that you can have on you, which is 198 in total of any given type, because it means you run out of arrows. I don't think anybody ever ran out of arrows in Dark Souls 1 because they were so cheap in comparison to like how many you could buy. It was so easy to just buy in bulk and just keep that bulk forever. Like you just didn't need to worry about it ever. You'd always have some arrows. But in this, you kind of need to worry about it, which is a good thing because this is such a frustrating build to fight against. And actually, when you're in a 2v1, like, this is how should I describe this? Like, if you're going to lose a fight, you're probably going to lose it very quickly. Like, you might be doing well for like a couple of minutes, but then all of a sudden you'll lose all of your health. You'll get into a bad position and you'll lose all of your health in about 3 seconds, which is probably what happened to most of my 2v1s. You can see right here I'm quite happy with myself because I was getting beat up all night. And I'm invading as a red because invading as a blue doesn't really work that well, and I'll talk about that in another video. Well, what was I talking about again? I keep derailing myself. I do apologize for that. Such a frustrating build to fight. But yeah, for every win, like every win that you do or that you get, sorry, it takes a good 3 minutes. Every single win takes about 3 minutes, and every single loss could take anywhere from 10 seconds to 3 minutes. So it's one of those builds that I doubt many people could get a lot of enjoyment out of, because it's not a high speed build where you run around doing all kinds of crazy in and out, like throw out a hit, roll away, do like some crazy parry or whatever. No, it's just roll away, throw out a shot, wait for your opponent to lower their guard, throw out a shot, roll away, throw out a shot, rinse and repeat, over and over and over. I think this is like the only successful 2v1, or the only interesting 2v1. I can't even call it interesting. I feel just so dishonest when I say interesting about this build. It's kind of fun to fight because it's really like tense. You got to really work on like your concentration. It takes a lot from a mental standpoint, I guess, because you need to be really careful about where you place your shots and when you roll. It definitely helps you on your roll timings. It helps you to not panic roll, because that gets you killed every single time. But other than that, it's just, I don't know, it's such a lackluster build. I kind of enjoyed it in Dark Souls 1, but this isn't Dark Souls 1, and even when I did do it in Dark Souls 1, it got a little bit old kind of quickly. Well, that's the end of the video. Maybe you'll see more of this character, maybe you won't. Thank you very much for watching, and that is a Bloodthirsty Phantom.